What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. Now before we get into today's video, I want to thank everyone for all the comments and also all my personal friends for texting me and just sending me messages. So I appreciate you guys, and we are actually, I'm actually back at the phase where let's get grinding again. Let's go make some money. Let's make YouTube videos. Let's go hang out. Let's just enjoy life. Not like I wasn't enjoying life when I was up in Irvine, but anyways, we are now back here. If you see, when I first came back, it was a bit messy here. So I still have all of my bins. So this still has like shifter, like consoles and stuff, all the stuff that I use for R&D, and I just have all of my tools. I recently picked up this Husky toolbox. Now, I didn't want to pick this up, but since I moved back, when I was in Irvine at the other apartment, I actually just like having an organized toolbox because I know where everything's at. And coming back here, instead of having like a messy toolbox, I decided to pick one up so I can organize all my tools that I have and that I bought when I was up there. But me moving back here, there's a lot more tools now than normal. But I try to keep everything organized as possible, so I got all my wrenches up here. But at the same time, like they've been sliding, so I might get like a wrench holder, and the 10 mils missing, but that's actually in my backpack because I was riding the monkey around and adjusting the clutch and just like small things here and there. Picked this up from Home Depot. It was on clearance. It was like 320 bucks, I think. It came with the bottom and the top. I originally only wanted the bottom, but they had a combo deal because I went to Harbor, I went to Lowe's, I just went to any like hardware store, or not hardware store, but yeah, home store. It has toolboxes, and Husky was literally the best option. And if all you guys OGs know, I had that black one with the wood countertop right here, and I had two of those at one point, but sold one and I had one. And then when I moved up to Irvine, they ended up getting rid of it, and now I'm stuck with a skinny one, which takes up less space, and I can actually roll it around if I wanted to. Still organizing the toolbox. I wish I got black, but the blue ones were on sale, and I was like, you know what, it's just a toolbox. Who cares about the color? So gotta clean up this area, make this thing look more presentable, and I might just throw the Bordy flags back up there, all of like the hybrid racing, the Chronicos, just all the stuff up there, Battlecraft. But yeah, anyways, today's video, we are actually gonna be talking about this car. Now, when I mean this car, we're not talking about the whole car itself. We're mainly gonna be talking about the K swap that I did in it a couple years ago, because a lot of people are still wondering or still asking me questions like, what do you need? How much did it cost? And you know, is it worth doing? Now, let me pop the hood and get started. Also, I just noticed I have some black stuff here that was from my headset. I need a new headset. The leather's peeling on it. We have the hood popped here. Now, doing something like this nowadays is pretty expensive because a lot of the costs went up. I can't give you guys the exact price because we did do this roughly like 4 or 5 years ago, and all he did was like do like touch-ups and stuff. But if you guys want a more in-depth video like on how much it would cost, I could do one with like a full breakdown as of like today's current pricing. Let me know, I can do that for you guys. How to put a K-swap in an EK or just any chassis alone, right? There's a lot of videos out there. I think I've never really made one just talking exactly how to put it in, because all of my videos, like when we were putting this together, it's all like different segments or different videos. To cut it short, this is a K20 Z3. So it's out of a 2006 to 2011 Honda Civic SI, and staying with the matching transmission. We are running a EG and DC subframe in this car. You want to use that because it gives you the better option of using the Hasport EKK2 mounts. Now, these are the EKK2 Hasport 75A mounts, and they have 2 notches. So there's one below here and one up top. Having that, especially with a K20, since the K20s have a smaller deck height, they don't sit as high as a K24, or as like, it's not as tall as a K24. I always recommend doing a K20 if you want ground clearance, especially if you want to sit low, because with these mounts, you have 2 notches and you can put on the highest notch with the K20 in it. But if you have a K24, you cannot put it on the highest notch. It's gonna hit your hood. So you probably have to cut your skeleton or depending on like what manifold setup, you might have to cut your actual hood. Also, this subframe too gives you more clearance back here for like the header and everything. If you guys ever seen like an EK subframe with like no motor in it, that thing is huge. Like it sticks out pretty far versus like the EGDC, it just kind of curves in. There was a lower like brace there, but we had to take it off because it was actually going to hit the header, and the header wouldn't go on. That's one thing you need, EGDC, and then you can keep your what is it? Actually, yeah, I think this one has EK lower control arms. I totally forgot. You know what? That's one thing. I forgot if you can use EK lower control arms, but most likely it's probably EGDC control arms because we bought new control arms, and then everything else is EK from up there. So the whole spindle and the whole upper control arm setup is EK. So you can reuse all of that. Now I do recommend when you guys do the swap, if you guys do not care about power steering, then make sure to get a manual rack. Get a Reman manual rack or anything, or find a used OBM one. If you run a power rack with no power steering, you have to make sure you run a power steering reservoir directly to rack companion or steering rack. If you don't, it's gonna be a little bit harder to turn. And also having an actual manual rack, you get the correct turn radius versus like having a power rack with no power steering. So that's one quick tip. After that, I mean, that's pretty much it. Like EG DC subframe with the Hasport EK2 mounts, especially on EK, and then with the K20 you put the high setting. So this does have more ground clearance than a regular like a K24, but it still sits pretty low, as in we're talking about the oil pan, especially at this right eye. Wait, looks like sitting a little bit lower. I don't know, it could just be my eyes. And then this is a RSX full-size radiator, and we just have these K20 hoses, which I want to change out. And then I literally just made one bracket here. I got I believe it was, I forgot, it was like some mount, but I bent it and I ran it upside down, so the bolt goes here and it holds the radiator like this, and it's perfect. Doesn't hit anything, and especially you have all these hoses to hold it down. And then yeah, we don't have any power steering or AC. I kind of want to put AC back in this, but in order to do that, we have to run a half-size radiator. And I feel like even if we do that, there's no issues with cooling, so I might use the Hybrid Racing AC kit, which works pretty well. A lot of people actually run that kit. So, and if you guys want to buy a kit or any Hybrid Racing products, I have 5% off on every single Hybrid Racing product and free shipping over $100 on LTLparts.com. So shop LTLparts.com, and appreciate the support and love. Shifter setup. This is a K20 Z3 trans, but we have the RSX shift selector. So with the K20 Z3, you cannot run the RSX shifter that a lot of people love running, and hands down, this is the best shifter I've ever felt. I mean, I have a Hybrid Racing in my car, but for a K-Swap, the Hybrid Racing RSX K-Swap shifter is the best. And look at that carbon shifter plate from LTOparts.com. Perfect fitting, nice and centered, and just looks good. But yeah, so in order to run that shifter minus the no-cut shifter box, if you run the Hybrid Racing no-cut shifter box, then you have to run, or then you can run the stock Z3 shifter selector. But with a RSX shift selector, you can run the RSX shifter, and you do have to drill and tap one hole. I believe it's this one. I'm not I forgot. It's one of the two, but there's a lot of guides online. I did do it on this one, and you know, no issues, no leaks. Shifts like butter. Depending how like creative you want to get with your K-swaps, you can run like a center feed fuel rail, have it feed all the way down, and we ran the lines all the way here. I ran it underneath this mount because it fits through. Ran it up here to the Hybrid Racing fuel pressure regulator, and then fuel return, and there is a filter down there too. It's an inline Earls fuel filter. Let me see. There, using those inline fuel filters saves so much space. I personally, when I did this whole fuel setup or just any of the A lines, I enjoy it so much. If you guys never did fuel lines before or just mess with A lines, you guys definitely should. It's such a fun learning experience, and after that, like, you can make anything. That's AN or PTFE, PFTE, whatever, PTFE lines. But yeah, so I did all this. Did all these A lines, did all this fuel pressure lines, and just knowing how to use ANs makes a huge difference. Even the brake booster, man, right here, and I don't know what else. That's pretty much it. You know, it all really depends on what motor you get. I recommend getting a K20. One is higher rev range, but K24 does have more torque. A lot of people do Frankenstein, so what, K24, K20 head. But I think doing that is still sit higher than this. If you have a K24, you definitely cannot run a strut bar. But, yep. So, that's that. I honestly think nowadays, in order to put a K-swap into an EK, and do something like this clean, around, I say if you don't have a built motor, not a built transmission, probably like 5 grand, give or take. Yeah, 5 grand, because shifter is like 400 bucks, right? Depending on what motor you get, if it's a used one. Like, we got this motor, I always say back then, not that cheap, but the thing is, this thing was fully rebuilt, heads ported, super tech valve train. And then also the transmission is fully rebuilt with the M Factory 2-way LSD from Ghostworks. It's a really nice built transmission. But yeah, so I think if you could do a budget K-swap, I say like 4 to 5K if you want to have it like this clean. Because honestly, if you spend money, like for example, for like fuel lines and all this, like especially like the pre-built kits, it does get expensive, but if you learn how to make the lines yourself, you save a lot of money, because AN lines get pretty expensive. It's like small stuff. I mean, this is Z3, so this is a RBC manifold. This is the one that's supposed to come with it. Oh, speaking of manifolds, I need to put my RRC in here. I should probably take this out and show you guys the difference between RBC, so USDM FA5, and then FD2 intake manifold. Oh, and the cherry on top is the Hybrid Racing 70mm throttle body. I actually had people hit me up. I think in the last video I showed this, but I had a lot of people hit me up about this throttle body because they're like, hey, can I buy it? I'm like, no. But my Hybrid doesn't make these anymore. And my brother actually bought this brand new, like recently, like not that long ago. Someone just had it sitting around, and I told him like, dude, buy it. So he bought it, and voila. And we still need to change some stuff. You could have tucked the battery, hide the fuse box in there, hide the brake lines, but I feel like having all that there is just, it's easier to access, you know? And also, my brother's interior is super clean. A lot of people message me on Instagram, and even on the video, were like, hey, what kind of interior your brother has? It's literally a stock. There's nothing special about it. This is factory sedan door cards. Factory console just been cut to fit the K-swap shifter, of course. And running the LTL parts carbon shifter plate. E-brake handle. I mean, that's my brother's taste. And then, yeah, just single din, and then airbag tray, and then has Battlecraft work spell hub. And there's 2 Recaro SPGs, and then the back seats, a lot of people were asking, those are actually Honda Orthia sedan rear seats. So they do bolt up, but I think the side bolsters, like, they don't bolt up exactly, but they still fit really good. OEM black floor mats. And then he finally actually got these. So this is a Sargent dead pedal, and then the Honda, it's like the Axis, no, Type RX or CTR. I forgot what the correct word is for these pedals, but you can still buy these new. You just have to drill out the holes and stuff and put in your own rivets. But yeah, these are the factory ones. These are pretty sick. Actually looks really good. Damn. I should have ran those on my car when I had them. But yeah, just ran Buddy Club seat rails with sliders. By far, one of the best seat rails I've ever owned for any of my cars. Always slides with no issues, and they sit low for sliders. But yeah, I'm just rambling, but that's it for this video. So peace out, guys. Don't others, just keep building and keep on grinding. If you guys have any other questions about this, I can make it more in-depth, but this is kind of just like a quick guide, I guess. Peace. Oh, I don't know if any of you guys, but I feel like some of you guys want to see build content, because I've actually been building this. Maybe. If you guys are interested, let me know. Leave in the comments below if you guys want to see Honda Monkey content. I've been riding this thing and been putting mods on it, like small things, but look at this. Look at this mini cafe racer. Looks so damn good and cute. Alright, peace.